This was one quiet September afternoon in 2012. Deep in the French Alps, what had begun as a peaceful family vacation suddenly turned into a nightmare. Having begun as a perfect start to this holiday, it gradually began to become one of the most unbelievable and mystifying unsolved mysteries in modern history. The brutal killing of Saad Al-Hilli, his wife Iqbal, her mother Suhaila Al-Alaf, and a passing cyclist shocked the world and left investigators quite bewildered. This story is one of unsolved mystery haunting the slopes of the French Alps. The Al-Hilli family had lived in Surrey, England, for some years. Saad Al-Hilli was born in Baghdad in 1962 and was a highly educated mechanical engineer. His work in satellite technology had taken him a long way from his war-torn homeland into comfortable existence in the UK. His wife, Iqbal, was a dentist, and they lived with their two daughters, Zainab and Zina, and Iqbal's elderly mother, Suhaila. They seemed to be living a normal life of success. But running beneath the surface, there were indications of tension building up. In early September 2012, the family set off on what was to have been a relaxing holiday in the French Alps. They took up residence at a campsite near Lake Annecy, an area of natural beauty where peace reigns. They had no idea that they were driving headlong to their deaths. On the afternoon of September 5th, the family made a drive along the remote forest roads of Combe d'Air near the village of Chevaline. At about 3:30 p.m., a British cyclist named Brett Martin saw something that would make his blood run cold. There was an estate car of the BMW brand parked asymmetrically on the roadside, but with the engine still running. He approached to find the horrible reality. Inside the car was Saad Al-Hilli, slumped forward onto the steering wheel, dead from multiple gunshot wounds. His wife, Iqbal, and her mother, Suhaila, were also dead, their bodies riddled with bullets in the back seat. But the carnage didn't stop there. Lying outside the vehicle was the body of another man, later identified as 45-year-old French cyclist Sylvain Mallier, who happened to be passing by. He, too, was dead, shot. But nearby, Brett Martin saw something even more pitiful. 7-year-old Zainab Al-Hilli was stumbling around, covered in blood, obviously injured but miraculously alive. She had a bullet to the shoulder and severe beating, although she was conscious. Another shocking discovery came as rescue services did their job at the scene. Zina, Zainab's 4-year-old sister, escaped the massacre and managed to hide under her mother's skirt in the back seat of the car, surviving through the entire massacre unharmed. She had spent hours in that position, paralyzed by terror and silent amidst the bodies of members of her family. This made the authorities swiftly realize they were not just dealing with murder but a cold-blooded massacre. The investigation into the murders took on international dimensions, involving French and British authorities, even Iraqi officials. Something was very disturbing about the amount of professionalism at the scene of the crime. A 7.65mm Luger pistol, a type of weapon seldom used other than in professional contract killings, was identified by forensic experts. It had been fired more than 20 times, with the heinousness of the attack indicative of a well-thought-out and deliberate execution. But the question that perplexed the investigators from the first moment was, why? How could any individual have such a grievous motivation to attack a family on vacation in the mountains? One of the first theories that came out was the murders were related to the work of Saad Al-Hilli. Projects that Saad had been working on as a satellite communications engineer involved sensitive technology and contracts with companies related to national security. Some have even speculated that he could have been an assassination target, possibly related to espionage or state secrets. Politically motivated, investigators could not discount this as well. With an Iraqi background, Saad hailed from the Middle East. However, upon proper investigation, no direct evidence of Saad's involvement in any espionage activities or secret dealings could be found. The theory, as interesting as it was, began to lead to nothing. Investigators had initially followed up one of the other leads that was that of a family feud. It later on emerged that Saad Al-Hilli had been involved in an intense rivalry with his brother, Zaid. The two siblings were engaged in an argument over their late father's estate, which was worth millions of dollars and several acres of land. It was a case of sibling rivalry that had gone to the extent of accusing his brother of trying to shortchange him and sharing the family estate, as Saad had accused his brother of. Could this have been a case of sibling rivalry that escalated into an argument resulting in murder? Much interrogation was subjected to Zaid Al-Hilli by the police, but he denied involvement in the killings. While there existed a real inheritance dispute that brought good tension between the siblings, there existed no evidence to link Zaid with the murders. Consequently, after cooperation with authorities, Zaid was cleared of any suspicion. When both the espionage theory and the family feud theory reached a dead end, investigators wondered if the Al-Hilli family was the target from the start. Was French cyclist Sylvain Mollier, who ended up also getting killed at the scene, the actual target? Mollier was a 45-year-old father of 3 who worked in the nuclear industry. He had been cycling in that very area on the same day as the Al-Hillis and was shot multiple times, just like them. Initial suppositions were that Mollier had been an unlucky witness to the murders and was killed to eliminate him as a potential witness. But as investigators went deeper into his life, some would start to suspect that he could have been the main target of the attack. Yes, Mollier's job in the nuclear industry would certainly raise suspicions. Could he have enemies who tracked him down to that remote mountain road? Or maybe he was engaged in something clandestine, which led to his murder. Despite these theories, to date, there has never been any evidence to come to light indicating that Mollier was involved in anything criminal or that he had enemies who wanted him killed. Like the others, his murder remains a mystery to this very day. What made the case so hard to crack was exactly this lack of clear motive and its overall complexity. While extensive, very little forensic evidence gave concrete leads. DNA samples recovered from the scene did not match any known suspects, and the limited security camera footage in that area offered little insight into what had happened. The witnesses were few and far between, and the people who were in that area at that time of the murders didn't give any information worth much. One of the more puzzling aspects of the case was the sighting of a motorcyclist near the scene shortly before the murders took place. Witnesses described seeing a man on a motorcycle and wearing distinctive headgear close to where the Al-Hilli family and local cyclist Sylvain Mollier had been killed. Despite the full search and public appeals for information, the identity of this motorcyclist has never been established. Was he a conspirator in the killings, or was he an unconnected passerby? Slowly over the years, the case grew cold. The French police never lost hope in the investigation and continued to go through the evidence time after time, chasing leads that seemed prominent, but every year that went by, the possibility of cracking the case seemed to dwindle. In 2021, authorities once again turned their attention to Sylvain Mollier. Maybe a fresh look at his life might provide the breakthrough they so desperately needed. Yet, even this refurbished interest in Mollier has brought no new light to the case. The Al-Hilli family murders count among the most inexplicable unsolved cases in recent times. Zainab and Zina, the 2 young girls who survived the attack, are back in the UK and presently live with relatives. They are now left to pick up their shattered lives and chase their dreams amidst the grim shadow of what befell them. This case has become frustration squared for investigators. There are so many unanswered questions. Who was the real target? Was this a professional hit? What was the motive that weigh upon those who want to see justice accorded to the victims? For the public, it's a window into the capriciousness and cruelty which, even in tranquil places, can be visited on their homes. If anything is certain, it is that today the truth behind the murders in the French Alps is as elusive as it was on that fateful September afternoon in 2012. Whether this case will ever come to light is anybody's guess, but for the moment, it stands, a grim lesson for how quick life can shatter and how some mysteries never get fully unraveled. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth explorations into some of the world's most baffling true crime mysteries. Tap that notification bell so that you never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay curious and stay safe.